Hi. This is Daphne, by the way. Hey everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another video at my YouTube channel and blog. Today I wanted to go over, I've got my little list here, 7 budget-friendly card making tools and supplies. These are things that I use every day. And hi Daph, she wants to come and say hello. Come here. Hello. This is Daphne. If you guys haven't met her yet. Hello. Looks a little perturbed right now because she wants to get up on the counter and look at the birds out the window. Anyway, I'm going to share with you 7 tools that I use all the time that are inexpensive and easy to add to your stash. So the first one is a set of watercolor brushes from Royal and Langnickel that I found a while back, and they're fantastic. You can get them at jetpens.com or at simonthestamp.com. I'll have links to everything down below if you want to check that out. You can find these in a lot of places actually, even local art supply stores. These are really inexpensive brushes, but they're great quality. I really like them. They have a lot of spring to them, and they're great brushes in general. Another thing that a lot of people don't think of but are actually really useful are Post-it notes. I use them all the time if I want to do just a little bit of masking and I don't want to deal with masking paper, which can be expensive. I'll just use Post-it notes. I think those go extremely well when you just want to have a little bit of masking. Or if you just want to hold something in place for a little bit and then peel it up later. They're fantastic for that. Okay, the third one should be no surprise because I've had multiple videos using these in the past. And in fact, my last video I used them. Really inexpensive Crayola watercolor paints. These are the washable watercolor paints. Hi, cat. These are the washable watercolor paints that you can find most anywhere, like even in grocery stores or Walmart, drugstores, things like that. It's actually a really good watercolor paint set, especially if you're only going to be painting a small area like a card. So small watercolor paint sets like that are great. I've also used one in the past from Praying. I think that was the brand. So you could try out those as well. Okay, another really inexpensive tool and supply that I use a lot is a T-square ruler, specifically the see-through brand T-square ruler. And I've used this one for ages. I remember I had one, and I think it was the same brand, probably back in the late 90s when I first got into calligraphy. I took a calligraphy class and we used T-square rulers to write to pencil and guidelines on our projects. So I've used one ever since then, but I use it in card making all the time. You've seen me use it over the years, the same ruler. It's fantastic and I'd highly recommend it. And once again, you can get that at simonthestamp.com or at Amazon or places like that. Hey, can you stop nibbling that, please? So another supply that I really use a lot and I love, and you guys have seen me use them in videos in the past, is paper from Canson. And this is specifically the watercolor XL paper. And hi, are you gonna settle in? Okay. And this is a watercolor paper that I was kind of resistant to at first because I'm a little bit of a watercolor paper snob, I guess you could say. I like really nice watercolor paper. I like things with a little bit of texture. I like more thickness and weight. I feel like it can handle more paint and watercolor, so I really tend to go toward those. However, Canson XL watercolor paper really surprised me. I like that it's not super thick, so you can fold it in half to make card bases, and it holds up really well under quite a bit of water. So I would really recommend it. You can get like a big, huge pad of it for fairly inexpensively. And if you think about it, if you cut it down into 2 card fronts, or even further than that into 4 card fronts instead of just 2 card bases, if you cut it down, the price really isn't that much more expensive than regular cardstock, but you will get much better results with using watercolor paper. Okay, another really inexpensive tool, and you might not even think about it, but I use mine quite a bit, is an adhesive eraser or adhesive remover. And this is for those times when you have a little bit of adhesive sticking out from your layer and you want to just remove it. It looks like a little gummed, it looks like a gummed eraser, basically, and it will take adhesive off most anything. So this is a little behind the scenes secret, but when I photograph my cards, they don't tend to want to stay closed all the time. So I will use a little bit of some adhesive, even the Tombow Extreme adhesive, which is totally sticky, and once you have it down, it usually is permanent, like nothing's moving. I will use that on the inside of the cards, and then after I'm done photographing it, I'll use my Xyron adhesive eraser and take off all that adhesive, and it's like new, and you would never know that I adhered the inside of the card closed. So it's a great way to get those cards ready to send out. Okay, and then my last tip, and it's not really so much a supply or a tool or whatever, but it is really inexpensive and it makes my life a lot easier as a card maker, and that is to have my cardstock pre-cut. So I make a lot of the same size cards, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, or in the card making world, that's the A2 size. And by the way, that A2 size reference comes from the size of envelope that it goes into. So if you were thinking A2 is incorrect because it's not an A2 size piece of paper, it doesn't come from that. It comes from the envelope size that the card would fit into. Anyway, I make a lot of the same card size, and so to have things pre-cut into some dimensions that I use often has really been a time saver. I got this tip from Jennifer McGuire a while back, and it's been great. I have 2 measurements that I use a lot. One is some Neenah Solar White cardstock that's cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I just keep a stack of that like right next to my workspace. Pull from it all the time. And then the other one is Neenah Solar White in the 110-pound version, and I have that cut to 4 1/4 by 11. So I can fold that in half for a card base. A lot of my card bases are white these days. It's just kind of like what I've fallen into. I think it's mostly because I like to do techniques and color the base myself if I need to. But having that pre-cut card base size has been great. So anyway, those are 7 tools, supplies, or tips that are fairly inexpensive, budget friendly, and great for your wallet. Hope you guys enjoyed those. I'll see you in another video very soon, and thanks for watching.